I was just thinking something that I wanted to share, and I don't usually think this way, so I wanted to catch it on camera. Usually, when I'm going through my life, I have a lot of fear, and I have a lot of anxiety, and I deal with moments of depression, more maybe than I would care to admit publicly, but I get low. And I was just kind of thinking about the trajectory of my life over the last, 4 or 5 years. And so when I was 26, I was in Santa Cruz. I was living in my mom's house, not with my mom. She had another house and she was renting it to me, so I was paying rent. And I haven't actually lived with my mom since I was 18. I don't know why I say that. I always have to qualify it for some reason. I feel like ashamed that that could be possible. But but no, I haven't lived with my mom since I was 18, but I was still living in her house and I was only making like what, $10,000 a year, something like that. I was pursuing being a musician, but I wasn't really pursuing it because I didn't really believe I could do it. I was working at a cafe and I wasn't getting respected there and I didn't like myself. So around 27 or 26, I went to Seattle on a fluke. There was a friend that was doing a road trip. I went with them and I went to Seattle and I got there with $1,000 in my pocket and I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna stay. I'm not going back. And I put $900 down in a room, so I had like roughly 100, 200 bucks in my pocket. And I didn't have a job, so I went to a hostel and stayed in a hostel while I Airbnb'd my room to kind of make 100 bucks a night. And and then I found a job as a developer. It was 30 bucks an hour, but it was only like a 3-month contract. And I heard about recruiting, so I became a recruiter, and because I thought it would be cool to get people jobs. I found out that's not what it's about. It's a part of it, but it's really about a lot of other things. It's not as cool as people make it sound. But nonetheless, I went from $10,000 depressed working at a cafe, Santa Cruz, living in the family system and not being able to individuate on my own, to Seattle, where I got my first $40,000 a year job. And then I subsequently, after that, after 9 months of that, I got another job that was about 67,000, and then I really leveled up and got a job that's 127,000. And so I've got about like roughly $40,000 saved. But this, to bring this all back, like, I'm not saying that I'm so happy right now that things are so good, because quite frankly, working at my 6-figure job isn't really, it's giving me a lot of stress and I'm not doing the things that I would really like to do. However, I have saved enough money to give myself the opportunity, if I wanted to, in maybe 3 or 4 months, to move somewhere or do something that is more in line with what I care about. Like, I could buy myself 8 months to just produce content for YouTube, or to go into a music production program and refine my abilities to make albums and records. Fuck yeah. Or I could learn video editing and get really proficient at that, or I could get myself into a psych program. Like, there's so many things that I could do. And now that I've been able to financially provide for myself, I think it's time for me to emotionally provide for myself. And a lot of this was in tandem with like letting my dad go and realizing that, even though, and he's not dead, I just love him so much and I don't want to do anything that could be out of the realm of what he believes is the right path for me. But I'm noticing more and more that like eventually you get to a point in your life where you either stay afraid or you decide that you need to live on your own terms. And that whoever you want to become is your responsibility, and that's exciting. It's not scary. Like, if you follow what it is that you really respond to in your heart, especially if you're a creative temperament, because I feel like they're kind of drawn in this way a little bit more than others, that's a legitimate life. That is okay. But there are things that you have to kind of drop in service of that, or sacrifices that you have to make. So all I'm saying is that looking forward into my life, it's not that everything is so great and awesome right now, but I'm hopeful for the future. And I'm hopeful for a time when I'm able to not only have some kind of financial stability and have some skills that I could fall back on, but also be able to refine more and more emotionally who I am and what my identity is, and strengthen that, and hopefully be able to create something sturdy and helpful for others. And it's just been such a learning process. And, even today I had a revelation that like one of my biggest issues is that I think too much. I'm always in my head. But when I do boxing or when I do sparring, particularly when I'm helping somebody or training somebody, like I forget about myself and I get clearer and I forget all of the things that weigh me down. And the same happens when I'm making a song or writing. So I think that there's a time now in my life where I can explore the arts, see where they take me, see what I'm capable of. And yeah, so I just wanted to share that with whoever. Peace.